Hey guys, today I'm going to be doing a book review on The Cottingley Secret by Hazel Gaynor. Starting in 1917, The Cottingley Secret by Hazel Gaynor tells the story of cousins Frances Griffiths and Elsie Wright, who claim to have photographed fairies in their garden. At first, it is a harmless prank to trick their parents, but once the photographs become a national sensation, the girls dare not reveal the truth of the photos. The Cottingley Secret is a novel about the power of stories and the blurring of lines between imagination and reality. First of all, before I get going with this review, I did receive this book through Goodreads, their giveaway section, so thank you very much, Goodreads. As far as this book goes, I'm really glad I won this book. It was such a charming, sweet little book. And yeah, I think on some level, a lot of people are familiar perhaps with the Cottingley fairies. The photographs are very iconic. If you've never seen them, I highly suggest you type in your Google search engine Cottingley fairies because the photos are just there's something just really magical about the photos, and something kind of creepy almost too, because yeah, you kind of wonder, wait a minute, are those fairies real? But yeah, obviously the truth came out that they were not real. And my opinion about the Cottingley fairies, or rather the two girls who did, you know, claim that, oh, there's fairies in our gardens and we photographed them, I was always under the opinion, oh Jesus, these were two spoiled girls just craving attention, and they just made all this up to get that attention. So yeah, that's kind of always been my opinion for years now. But after reading this novel really gave me a whole different perspective about these girls, and just explaining their motives for why exactly they made those photos. And one of the big things to kind of explain their motives is definitely this whole idea, you know, World War I is going on at the time. The novel takes place during 1917. These two girls are kind of in the midst of World War I, and yeah, there's a lot of death going on around them, you know, that they're reading about in the newspapers. So that's one of the larger themes in this novel, you know, with World War I being in the background of what's going on. Because with World War I, this whole idea of the world losing their belief in magic and losing their belief in fairy tales, and more specifically I think losing that hope of having a happily ever after. And that's the role that these photographs end up playing during this really tumultuous period of time. These photos bring back the magic and they bring back the fairy tales, and it gets people to kind of stop thinking about the war temporarily. And another big thing that's kind of presented in this novel, because of the fairies representing something from the beyond and representing something magical, you know, because the war is going on and because the death toll is so high, it allows people to believe in beyond, and that there is a higher existence, and that your loved ones are not really gone and whatnot. So yeah, there's a lot of deeper meanings kind of going on in this novel. So yeah, at the start of this novel, these two very young cousins, at first it's just a prank. When they start creating these pictures of the fairies, because that's what they end up being, they're just paper cutouts, and they're posed in such a way to make it look like it's believable. So yeah, at first this is simply just a prank. The cousins, they're bored, they just want their parents to, you know, believe them and listen to them. But the problem is, they end up keeping up this charade. And they create a couple sets of photos, and then all of a sudden, the photos kind of get out, and they become national sensations all of a sudden. So, uh-oh. And something I had no idea about, you know, as far as a historical perspective goes, something I had no idea about, I didn't know that Sherlock Holmes author, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, he got an interest in these photographs. So yeah, Arthur Conan Doyle, he plays a small part in this novel because he's kind of the one who brings the photos more to public attention. So obviously one of the larger themes that's presented in this novel is this whole notion of storytelling, because the two cousins, they gotta create a story, you know, they can't just come right out and say, oh, they're not real fairies, because by then they're too embarrassed. The lie has gone too far. And yet, like I mentioned earlier, these photographs represent so much more to the public. They represent fairy tales and magic, you know, especially being in this world that has grown so cynical because of the war. Now, something that I have not mentioned in this review just yet, I can't believe I've just now remembered this, this review is not only just a historical fiction book. Part of it takes place in 1917 with the cousins, but then another chunk of the book takes place in like a contemporary setting following this young woman named Olivia. And yeah, she kind of stumbles across this book about the Cottingley fairies. And yeah, this whole book, in, you know, both the historical setting and in the modern setting, I mean, it's all about the Cottingley fairies, the photographs, and what they mean to different people. Because yeah, even Olivia in the contemporary setting, these photos and the fairies, they mean something to her as well. And yeah, another thing, this book has all sorts of themes, you guys, but yeah, another theme in this book is also about self-discovery and self-belief. And yeah, that definitely holds a lot with the contemporary character Olivia, because she's going through a lot of personal issues and personal demons. And yeah, these photographs just really inspire something new within her to take charge of her own life rather than others taking charge of her life for her. So yeah, there's just some very interesting parallels, you know. I mean, you get that when you have a book in a contemporary setting plus a historical setting. I mean, that's what you want from the novel. You have to have parallels in order to draw both narratives together, or else it don't make sense, and it's like, well, why are both narratives here to begin with? But yeah, as far as the historical and the contemporary setting goes, I did enjoy both settings, though. Me being a historical fiction lover, I did prefer the historical fiction setting over the contemporary setting. But yeah, the contemporary setting was really good as well, just as intriguing. So, overall, I do highly recommend this book if you haven't picked it up already. This is definitely a book for fans of historical fiction, obviously. This is a book for lovers of books and storytelling. And like I said at the very top of this review, there is just something very charming and magical about this book, you know, especially in a world where we have a lot of literature that can be quite daunting and dark and deep. And yeah, this book kind of lightens the atmosphere, I think. So that's it for this book review, you guys. In the comments below, let me know if you've read this book or not, if you liked it, maybe you hated it, just let me know. So that's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you like this video, you may like these other videos. Bye, guys.